Um, yeah, so after a while, it got to the point where I was like really losing control. Really losing control. I didn't know how to handle my emotions. I was really going through it. Really going through so many dark thoughts and dark emotions, and I really started to struggle with intense suicidal ideations. They say survivor's guilt. I think that's what they call it. I felt like it was my fault somehow. I don't know how, but I was 21 years old, and my inner child was still hurting. So I was thinking like a child in this moment, and I couldn't really express my emotions to anybody. I would try to, but my friends would kind of shrug it off. My friends would say, "Hey, man, everybody goes through it," and kind of go about their business. My friends would say, "Hey, ain't nothing I can do. I don't know what to say." And we were all young men. I can't blame them for that. I can't blame them for not knowing how to console me or support me or whatever. But there was always booze, and there was always marijuana, and there was always like when I got older, there was pills around all the time for some reason. So that's what I would do. And then one thing I realized is that your depression doesn't go away. People think that your depression kind of goes away after a while, but after a while you kind of learn it kind of moves in. Your depression moves in, and it's kind of like a house guest. And some house guests get very comfortable, and they're not going anywhere. Depression is not going anywhere until you confront it and you deal with it. And over the years, what happens is with depression feeds on your bad moods. It feeds on the suicidal ideation. It feeds on alcohol. It feeds on self-pity. It feeds on hate. So the depression gets stronger and stronger and stronger and more embedded into your thought processes until it's more of a struggle to overcome it. And it got to the point where with my depression, I was drunk all the time. I would drink 7 days a week. I would drink constantly. Only days I wouldn't drink is if I was hungover. And it really, really, really became a major part of my life. And along with the depression came thoughts of suicide. And after my father passed away, I was thinking about suicide. It got to the point where it was so bad, my first thought in the morning would be, am I going to kill myself today or am I going to wait? And then I would plan where I would do it if I did do it. Should I do it at home? But at the time I was living, it was me, my older brother, and my younger brother living together. And I thought to myself, no, I can't kill myself at home. I don't want my younger brother to find me. So I would say, okay, I'll kill myself at work. And then I would have to plan on, okay, where am I going to do it? I want somebody to find me. I don't want to lay around too long and start to decompose. It's just very morbid thoughts all day long. And then I would think these morbid thoughts all day until I went to bed at night. And so, of course, you can imagine somebody dealing with that level of depression. I didn't have a whole lot of relationships. I didn't have a whole lot of relationship experience. I didn't have a whole lot of life experience. I was really going through a very dark time in my life. And the thing about time is, as you get older, time speeds up. There's a song by Pink Floyd called Time. And in the first verse of the song, he's singing about being very young and the summer days seem long and endless and you're bored and you're restless. But then as you get older, time kind of speeds up and now it's hectic and you have to kind of keep up with everything. That's how it is as you get older. When I was, from the age of 21 to 30, I lost a lot of years. I lost a lot of years of experience in relationships, experience in self-love, experience in just growth, traveling. I mean, I lived in a very small world. My comfort zone was about this big, and I hardly ever went out of it. Yeah, depression is definitely a disease. So after a while, it occurred to me at the age of 29, and it was very logical. It wasn't an emotional thing. It wasn't necessarily rock bottom. It was kind of a logical thing. One day I kind of woke up and I said, listen, I gave most of my life to depression. I've been depressed, seriously depressed on and off throughout my whole childhood. I mean, the first time I ever thought about killing myself, I was probably about 7 because of what was happening in my household, my parents and everything. So I always had bouts of depression and bouts of suicidal ideation from a very early age. And I said, okay, that's it. I've gone through this long enough. Time for me to make some changes.